Hey, Alex, Liz stepping out from behind the camera this week, and we are going to walk through our recap. All week was escaping the bottom side. Very tough position to deal with. There are some truths that we always deal with when we come back to this, and positions we always deal with. But we took a kind of a unique twist on some of these this week, and we looked at what happens when I don't get to turn back in to recompose my guard or look for my underhook. So we're going to look at some of these fundamental techniques, some of these fundamental movements that are going to run all the way from recomposing guard to some of the outward rolling escapes we're going to do today for the video, and into some of the more advanced stuff we did Friday night where we're starting to manage our partner's weight while he's on top of us. So let's look at some of these. We're going to start with me stuck on the bottom side. Horrible position, hate life. Some of these things that apply no matter how I'm going to try and escape is I'm looking to build my frame. My forearm is in her neck, not up here cranking her jaw, not under here where she can crush my wrist, out here. My hand is checking her hip so she can't advance her position to north-south. So I'm building a nice frame. I'm not exhausting myself pushing her away. I'm just building a nice structural 90-degree frame with my elbows to kind of keep her off me so I have some time to think. So we all know that ideally I'd love to start recomposing guard and going back in towards her. The problem with that is everyone knows that, and everyone is going to try and shut that recomposition down. And even though we tell white belts and blue belts never ever give your back, never turn away, we understand that there are times we do. It's one of the fun things about learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's learning the rules so we can break the rules. And in this case, I'm going to make the decision, not a panicked, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing, just random scrambling movement, but I'm going to make a conscious decision that I cannot turn into recompose. So I'm going to have to start to get away by rolling away. Her arm's too tight, I can't get she's protecting my underhook too good. I'm going to consciously decide that we're going to move away from her. Now we're going to do this in a way that's as safe as we can make it. And to do that, there are some fundamental things to watch. First up, I start with my bridge as always because I'm moving her weight off. Nice big power bridge. Now as my body drops back down, I'm using that space that lag time inevitably creates to thread my hand through. As I come down, I'm going to drive out and come to my side, looking away. Now this is where people tend to start getting in trouble because they let things go loose and she starts to armbar and step to modified mount and everything else. So as I turn, my hands are coming to that modified prayer position, the kind of that same thing we use from the turtle, and I'm tucking these underneath my neck and protecting my gi. Now this makes it very difficult for her to get around and make a neck attack with my lapel or her hands because I'm really building this wall. My hand's tucked in here, my head is tucked in here, so it's really nice and tight. The next thing I have to worry about is her stepping over into a modified mount, and then this arm becomes really immobilized and really isolated. So to protect that, I'm going to take my top foot and I'm going to step really wide, really hard. And I'm going to almost bring this right up to where it's touching my elbow. And this is helping me to prevent her modified mount and her stepping over. So now even though I'm kind of exposed with my back towards her, I'm not letting her take those next steps she needs to really start to isolate either my neck or my top arm. So I'm here, I'm tight. From here, I'm going to use my feet and I'm going to turn my hips over and drive to a turtle position. And this should look very familiar from a few weeks ago where we're using this prayer position. I'm protected here and I'm buying myself time. Now to go ahead and drive out to complete my escape. Yes, I've escaped here, but I'm not quite where I want to be. So we're going to do a rolling addition onto this to really bring us back to a better neutral position. And to do that, I'm going to step out with my far leg and build base over here. From there, this opposite shoulder is going to touch the mat, and I'm going to tuck my head out. Spin around here. So as I come out, now I've built a position to roll into, right? And with the shoulder on the ground, even if she's pressuring me, go ahead and pressure. Now I can go ahead and use my legs, drive, and conduct my roll. And I've come back into guard. So I've gone immediately from a bad position on bottom side. I've made a conscious decision to drive out of that, away from her, and now I've recomposed with a roll. So one of the things we focused on this weekend wasn't just escaping the position, because she's been dominating this fight mentally, right? She's been on top, she's been crushing me, she's been winning this fight. So what I want to do is immediately start to take some of that mental action back away from her, right? I want to take that predator mindset she's developed by crushing me, and I want to make her understand that I'm the one attacking. So from here, we started working our attacks, and to have a little fun this week, one of the attacks we worked was a lapel choke. So once I've reestablished my guard, I'm going to get this gi, I'm going to clear the gi. And really most of the time we'll know that this is probably flopping around after a few minutes of rolling anyway. So I clear this gi. My hand is going to go thumb down and it's going to loop the gi around in front, and I should see this big loop of material. At this point, she's still not going to be too worried about this. I'm going to transition hands, I'm going to go thumb down. You'll notice I make this little hip shift so that my arm gets longer essentially, and I can make my thumbs down grip on this side of the gi material. So I go from thumb up to thumb down, and now I drop this elbow. She's probably going to posture up because she doesn't want her posture broken, and she still doesn't feel like she's in any real trouble because this is all looped up, but what she's not noticing is this tight material I have along this carotid artery. Now, we're going to conduct one of the few exceptions in gi chokes. Most of the time with lapel chokes, we're actually call them lapel chokes, but the lapel is just there to anchor our hand while our forearms do the choking. In this particular instance, the lapel is actually going to do the choking. So while I have this wrap, this hand is going to grab thumbs down, not directly here on this side of her neck, give it a little space because I need room to wrap this gi literally all the way around her other carotid artery. And now I'm going to punch with this hand, and I'm going to dig with this hand, and I'm going to get the submission. So immediately, coming back to the attack. So as we run the whole thing through, I'm bridge up to get space, drive the hand out, and roll. I'm protecting with my modified prayer position. I'm turning my foot to protect her modified mount, and I'm using this to turn up and into my turtle. My foot steps up, my shoulder goes down, and I conduct my roll directly back into posture. Immediately, to take the initiative back in this fight, clear the gi. Wrap the gi, transition hands to a thumb down grip on the other side. As she postures, I let this elbow drop straight, I grip the gi, and drive it all the way around with a punch choke. So, that was our week. Some of our rollaway material, in addition to some of the other things we did with developing the underhook and manipulating the weight. Really good series. Because we know that no matter how much we want to face the other guy, at some point we're going to have to turn away. If we do that, it is better that we look at it as a technical transition. It's better that we learn to develop a technical movement-based game rather than relying on a scramble. So, there are Wednesday night's material. Take a look at our other material. Like, subscribe to the channel. We've always got new stuff coming. And next week we'll be looking at escaping the mount, falling right out of the side mount escapes. So, we'll see you then.